my name is Guidry, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to get more second photography jobs if you're trying to build your portfolio and get more experience. Speaking of experience, we have a free posing and pricing guide in the description below. Be sure to grab those to help you along your photography journey. When you first start out the business, if you heard my video all about how to prep and shoot a wedding ceremony, then you know how important it is to get that experience before you step in as a primary photographer. When I started my business, I actually did not do this. I did do a bit of second shooting, but it was later on once I had actually already started shooting on my own. And honestly, I should have done those things in reverse. And so if you can, try to get a few second shooting jobs in the beginning, because that will help you get the experience that you need to know things like where to stand, what to do, so on and so forth. But you might be wondering, how do I get those second photography jobs? Because like me, you're struggling to have people hire you. You know, I think because I did enter into the industry without these things, that I did have to do these things first. And so that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in this episode. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend that you do is start building a portfolio. Even if the portfolio does not consist of actual wedding photography images, it's still a good idea for people to get an idea of your portrait style, your capabilities, maybe who you are, and you can start to do that on your own. So setting up photo shoots, you can attend styled events, you can set up your own styled events and begin building that portfolio. In addition, you want to have a website or a landing page or something that can be sort of a catch-all for everything that you've photographed. There are a ton of free portfolio hosting sites and locations out there. I love Showit. I talk about it all the time. If you're looking for a really user-friendly website that's nominally priced, check it out. I'll also include, we have a coupon code MAGIC for 10% off. That'll also help you save a little bit on money, because I know in the beginning you really want to pinch those pennies and spend money where you need. But I do believe that, you know, a functioning website with a contact page, a portfolio section, an about page is really going to help you, even if it's not for the clients, you know, as a primary. We're talking about the second photography position. When you email those photographers and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm really interested in working with you, check out my portfolio, and you send them to a professional website, that is going to make a huge difference. Ultimately, they're going to be looking at your portfolio, they're going to want to learn about your experience, but having it presented really well makes a big difference. If you're trying to get a job working alongside someone who has spent a lot of time, effort, and energy booking those jobs, they're going to want to trust you. And I truly believe that the best way to start to build that rapport and build that trust someone is by being in the room. And ideally, you could virtually be in the room, but even better would be if you are physically in the room. So the best case scenario is if you're able to meet someone one-on-one, whether it's at an event or as part of a membership, or, I mean, best case scenario would be is if you can meet up with them for coffee or lunch. Oftentimes, maybe people won't take that step until they kind of know you a little bit more, and some maybe not at all. And so just being in the room with them, especially at group events, it helps you get those conversations with people going and begin to build that trust and rapport. And even if they aren't the ones who hire you per se, knowing them and having that relationship opens the doors for you to get referred and to have second shooting opportunities with even other people. And so I highly recommend trying to get in that physical room with people. If you can't, get in that virtual room and get to know people better in the industry. So some of the ways that I do that is I do a little bit of research about what's on the horizon. Are there any venue openings? I try to get to know people in the industry who are willing to meet up or who do have those connections so that I can be invited to those events. Maybe there's a membership. For example, we have the Wedding Photography Society. You can check that out at weddingphotographysociety.com. It's all wedding photographers, so it's a great way to meet other people. I've seen so many photographers connect and get second shooting jobs that way. There are also a ton of other free online forums where you can, you know, get referrals or refer people. That's a great way, right? You refer people, you can get some referrals in exchange. Just connecting. when it comes to second shooting, those relationships do become super important because they have to trust you and enjoy being around you because you are spending the entire day together, and their clients are also going to be spending the day with you. So now let's assume that you got hired as a second. Someone's lined you up, you're available, you agreed on the rate, and you're getting ready to go and photograph with them. How do you do the best job possible so that they come back and hire you again or refer you to other people? The first thing would be that you ask all the questions in advance. What do you need to wear? What's the dress code? Is there anything specific that they expect of you in terms of your dress? Now let's talk about gear. What gear do you need to bring? Are they wanting you to shoot film? Do you have backup gear? Bring that along with you. What type of things do you need to know to bring? In addition, they may have a timeline. You want to get that timeline in advance and just be as prepared and familiar with that timeline as possible when you arrive. The day of the event, you want to be super present. Whenever I say present though, I don't mean overly involved when you don't need to be. So there is that balance there. You want to be attentive, focused, not on your phone or distracted. We actually had someone who wanted to move into second shooting with us, for example. So we brought them on as a third. And during the ceremony, they were just playing on their phone the whole time. And so that was a sure way to not get asked back again, right? So you want to really be present and focused. Then when it comes to interacting, you want to kind of strike that balance between being too involved and not involved enough. So ask if you need help on occasion, but know that there are going to be downtimes, and sometimes the primary lead photographer may need you to just step into an assisting role, maybe getting water, maybe helping with the dress or carrying bags. Just being helpful and being present goes so far. For me, having a strong second photographer who's really good with images is obviously most important, but in addition, I want someone who is easy to be around and easy to work with and just, very helpful and on the same page. Do not self-promote. When it comes to shooting with someone else for their business, you have to forget about your own goals. Forget about your business if you have your own wedding photography business. You are there that day for them. You're there to be a helping hand. You're there to assist and show up. And even if someone asks you like, oh, who are you here with today? You are promoting their business at that time. Leave your business cards at home. Don't think about your Instagram stories. Like, you are 100% present for that photographer, showing that you are there to uplift them and make their business better. Anytime that I have second shot for another photographer, I am there as, their business that day. And I want that photographer to really shine and to look super solid. So that is our job as a second when we're shooting for a primary photographer, is to just be there to support and make their business better on that day. So there's a lot of differences in opinions when it comes to portfolio pieces. I am a bit of a believer that as a second, when I, am showing up to shoot for someone else, that I am just there to get paid and to do a good job for their business and to take amazing images and create a good experience. However, I understand that it is challenging in the beginning, right, to build up your own portfolio. And so if you're working with a primary who does allow you to use those images, which some of them may not, you want to agree upon that in advance. Make sure you guys have that written down in a contract, a second shooter agreement about how the images can be used. Just kind of know what's to be expected in that realm. I would say even if you do have the ability to use those images for your portfolio, just make sure that that doesn't get in the way of how you're shooting for them. Like, there can be the tendency to step into certain positions, right? Or be in that like straight on position as the second so that you can use them for your portfolio and maybe, kind of have it appear as though you were the primary. But most importantly is going to be that you're there in support. I know for our business, we do not allow the second photographers to use those images for their own portfolio. And so that's just a policy that we have, and that's, our belief. And I truly feel that the experiences that I had as a second, where I was getting paid essentially to learn, far outweighed the images that I was taking. When you do start building your portfolio, you will get those images in time. I think oftentimes we can be in such a rush to get from A to Z. Just focus on building those relationships and doing a good job, and I promise you it will work out. You will get those portfolio pieces in time, you will get those images in time, but most important is going to be, serving well and doing a good job. When it comes to being a second photographer, you are just that. You're the second. So allow that primary photographer to lead. If you have an idea, for example, about a location or, maybe a change in the timeline or something's come up, pull that primary photographer aside and say, hey, what do you think about this? And what about this idea? Don't do that in front of the client, because we want them to still be, in the lead as the primary. And they may be so excited to take your idea for location and be so impressed by that, but we don't want to ever overstep as the second. And so allowing that primary photographer to lead is going to be super important for the day. And the last thing that I will say is that every photographer is different, every style is different, the way that they shoot is different. And so you really just want to vibe with them, have a good time, and create an amazing experience. When it comes to future second shooter jobs and getting those opportunities, the best, quickest way is going to be to do a good job for who you're working for. Those referrals are going to lead you in the industry. People will refer you, they'll talk about you, and you'll become known as an amazing second. There are photographers who don't like to primary shoot at all. They only want to be a second photographer. And if you think that could be of interest to you, then follow these tips and really take them to heart and do the best job that you can. Maybe you are looking to eventually move into that primary position, but still follow these tips and you'll get those referrals, you'll get that experience so that you can ultimately, I would think, probably move into associate photography first. Maybe those photographers will eventually trust you so much that you're starting to shoot jobs on their behalf, and then you can even step into the primary position, maybe for their business or on your own. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this was helpful. I wish you the best in your photo journey. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.